So we have some breaking news, and I have to tell you, I am utterly, utterly shocked. Shocked beyond belief that Hamas seems to have broken the ceasefire deal. Wow. Can't believe it. Well, actually, I can believe it. I guess the only thing I can't believe is how quickly it happened. I thought it might at least take a few more days. But actually, the news is extremely tragic because it looks like they have killed Israeli soldiers. Hamas terrorists targeted an armoured IDF vehicle with an anti-tank rocket in Rafah, a zone under Israeli control. And the IDF is now rightfully retaliating. Now, I want to give you more details about why and how this happened. Okay, so obviously this is a complete violation of the ceasefire agreement. That shouldn't be complicated to anyone. Let's also have a look at the video here just to see it as it unfolded, and I'll explain the context of what took place. This is obviously the moment that it happened. As you can see, there's smoke rising from there, someone filming from afar. Now, what happened is that Hamas were going after the Abu Shabab gang militia, who are, another opposing Gazan gang, and they were attacking them. But while what happened was a military vehicle from the IDF was targeted in the process. So Hamas will say that they are going after this opposing clan and they unintentionally hit an IDF target. And by the way, you should know that 2 are dead, 4 are injured, IDF soldiers, which is obviously terrible, devastating news. And they will claim that it was unintentionally hitting the IDF as a result of trying to go after them. And by the way, you should know that the head of this opposing clan, Abu Shabab, who, by the way, they're also going to be deeply anti-Israel. I don't think they're going to be much different to Hamas. But he posted a video of himself an hour ago to prove that he is alive and not injured in this morning's Hamas attack. But the point is that regardless of whether they were intending to hit the IDF or not, part of the agreement was that they are going to disarm. That's part of the ceasefire deal. Disarm means killing Gazans or IDF soldiers. But regardless, the whole thing's completely unacceptable. Okay, if the IDF did this the other way around, I can guarantee you the world would go crazy. Trump would probably go crazy. You broke it. You're not sticking to what we said. The IDF releasing these hostages, they just killed another 2 Israelis. It's completely unacceptable. And of course, they have to deal with the threats, particularly on their borders, comprehensively. Of course, to no one's surprise, the BBC are blaming Israel. Israel strikes Gaza as IDF and Hamas accuse each other of breaching ceasefire. I mean, as always, the cause is Arab violence and Israel responds, but the world treats it the other way round. And let's also not forget that there is another element to breaking the ceasefire deal. And what is that? That Hamas agreed to release all the hostages, alive and dead. They've broken that. They have broken that part of the deal. So I have to tell you that I personally think that at this point, Israel, I think they really need to comprehensively, at this point, destroy Hamas, which was a war aim. Letting them exist, now, in any shape or form, is completely untenable. Now, of course, I'm sure Netanyahu and Trump and others will say, well, that's part of the agreement. They are going to disarm. I personally think that for as long as you have, just logically speaking, as long as you have an entity on your border that their whole identity is based around Jew hatred, and you're now going to outsource the control of that to another Arab power, but you've still got a deeply radicalized population there. So Qatar and Egypt, the UAE and other Arab countries are going to get involved. What if they don't de-radicalize? What have you got to guarantee that they will de-radicalize? You're just hoping that they'll disarm. But what if they go underground? What if they continue to plan jihadist attacks? And then if Israel has to go into Gaza again, are they now going to war against all these other Arab countries? It becomes a lot more messy unless we comprehensively put an end to the Palestinian question of statehood, which is entirely based on trying to destroy the Jews. This problem's going to fester. People say, okay, but come on, Ollie, you know, the Arabs, the Palestinians in Judea and Samaria are there, and it's not quite as bad. It is pretty bad. Constant terror, terrorist attacks, security threats. And people say, well, if you have some kind of radical proposal for how you address this, that will lead to global isolation. Is continuing this problem not leading to global isolation? Because every time this cycle happens, it gets worse and worse. And every time Israel, I would say, behaves more and more surgically precise, the accusations in the West become even more extreme. So this whole notion that global isolation can be prevented based on Israel's action, I think is ridiculous, unless Israel literally wants to just fall on its sword. To me, the only reasonable proposal at this point is to say Israel, from every angle, both because the Palestinians have forfeited their right to it, and because historically and biblically and divinely the Jews have the right to it, the Jewish people should control Gaza. Israel should control Gaza. That's number one. Number two, they should be able to say anyone that signs up to a radical ideology that wants us dead should not be allowed to live freely. Should either be detained or deported or whatever needs to be done. And you say to the population, I'm sorry, we left in 2005, we gave you a chance and look what happened. Look what happened, you chose to kill us. So I know, you can't speak about 100% of the population, but if you just say that, if you say, well, I know it's only 90% that want us dead, but 10% might be innocent. Well, then a country you could have said that in World War II. It's just stupid suicidal logic. And I'm a bit tired of the suicidal logic that we have in the West. And so what needs to happen is that Israel needs to maintain its presence there. And it needs to deal with the radicalism that exists there. And frankly, I think needs to say to the Arabs living there, for your sake and our sake, we've tried for so long for you to live here in peace with us. You've chosen not to. We've always had the stronger claims to the land than you have. We never tried to force you out or move you anywhere. It's you that's tied our hands. So, number one, make a plan to go and live in another part of the Arab world, which is 100 times the size of Israel, to which you are indigenous to. They say Jews go back where you came from. We have come to back where we've come from. Where you've come from is the Arabian Peninsula. That's number one. Number two, if you say that, well, you want to live here, the first thing I ask you is why? Because your leadership and your people are constantly choosing war, which is going to mean you're going to be under threat and violence the whole time. For both sides' sakes, surely this would make more sense. I don't know why the Arab world don't see this as well. Maybe it's partly down to us. Maybe we need to be clearer. But yes, I think to say, if you don't want to leave, at the very least, there's going to be some liberties that are taken away because you are going to kill us, because you're a threat to our society, to Israeli society. I think this idea of releasing all these prisoners for a start, these terrorists, who, by the way, I'm going to cover a bit more in future content to understand who it is that Israel's released, but not just that, but to withdraw and let Arab autonomy reign free again like it did last time. That is surely repeating the mistakes of the past. We can't go down that road again. Surely not. I pray and hope that we learn from our mistakes. Imagine you're running for your life. Your home is no longer yours. Your neighbours spit at you in the streets. The government has branded you an enemy, stripped you of your rights, your livelihood, your humanity. You're a Jew in Nazi Germany, 1938, and the world knows your people are being crushed under Hitler's iron fist. You're desperate, clutching a suitcase with everything you own, praying for a visa, a ticket, a country, any country that will let you in. Now imagine this. The world's most powerful nations gather to decide your fate. 32 countries meeting in a lavish hotel by a serene lake with the power to save you, to save hundreds of thousands like you. And one by one, they say no. Welcome to JTV. I'm Ollie Annersfeld, and today we're diving into one of the most gut-wrenching, shameful chapters in modern history, the Evian Conference of 1938. This was the moment when the world had a chance to stand up, to open its doors, to save countless Jewish lives from Nazi persecution, and turned its back. This is a story of hope dangled and then snatched away, of sympathy that never became action, of a failure that paved the way for the Holocaust. We'll uncover every layer of what happened at Evian, why it unfolded the way it did, and the chilling warning it holds for us today. This is not just history, it's a mirror, forcing us to confront who we are when the world cries out for help. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.